The sound check. This channel doesn't
Outaway
have any
chickens.
content. That's a lie.
We've been producing content for years.
Also, the little chicken got out, and I don't know how.
Here we go.
You got seeds?
No, hold on. Okay, well, it hopped in while you were waiting.
Okay, cool. Oh, holy shit. Who already wrote in our stream? What is this?
No idea.
Vest, you're looking at it. What's our stream thing say?
Somebody already commented, said a thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Do a deal for the stuff.
I hope it's Danny. I haven't spoken to her in forever.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it's Banana Berry? Hello, Banana Berry. Banana is a berry, but
That's such a weird thought.
I don't know why you would pass that on. They're just listing the alphabet in our.
No, you stupid little chicken!
Bitches!
No, you son of a bitch! Oh my god!
Get back in
Okay,
here!
I think we sound good. We sound good, guys. Just chickens aside.
Are you sure we need this pressure
You
plate?
rip
'Cause
up
it's a
that pressure
constant
plate.
Grief. Okay, this pressure plate is a constant grief.
Yeah, get rid of it. Get out here. Get out here, cows. And it looks like Banana Berry is just going to list the entire alphabet in our stream.
All right,
I'm actually okay with that because I don't know my ABCs.
Yeah.
Backwards.
I mean,
And they messed up.
Hold on. KLMNOPQN. Crap! Banana Berry says.
Ah, shit.
And here I was about to
little
learn
fuck.
something.
Yeah. Holy shit, boyo. You're.
What the literal fact?
Come on, the literal feck. That's not how the alphabet goes.
Put feck.
with feck.
F-E-C-K, feck.
Feck. Should we start the podcast already? Is this the beginning of the podcast?
I'm waiting for you.
Oh,
So many chickens in here.
Yeah, man. We got chickens for days.
Chickens for days.
Just like Tom Holland. All right, this is one of our podcasts we do every once in a while, and I know what you're thinking, guys. You did this last week. Well, dear viewer,
Gotta catch up.
and by dear viewer I mean Danny, we are doing another one. This right now. So
Just because.
yeah, there's some news that's come out. It's the usual crew of me, Scorch, and Arcady Zero, and Vast Empires, the Listmaster, and we're gonna roast Inside Gaming. We're gonna talk about IGN's Summer of Games. We're gonna talk about how Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely, along with Iron Man VR. I'm not sure, like, the audience for that one, but we're also rather goofy today, so we're going to see where it goes. We are going to see where it goes, ladies and gentlemen. So I leave it up to the Listmaster to pick our first topic. What is it, Vast?
Well, we're going to start with what we do best, which is raging against the machine and talk about what happened with Randy Pitchford, Gearbox, and the employees.
Yes. Well, before we start, I have one thing to say about all of that. By the Emperor, that's a lot of heresy.
Shout out to that new video that came out by, what's his name? Aegis?
Oh. My controller disconnected.
Oh, we can still hear you.
Yeah, well, that's nice. It only, says my controller lost connection on the stream, so.
Since we had a minor Warhammer reference, what was that latest video that came out, number 5?
Astartes.
Astartes, that's what it was.
Yes,
Great
Adeptus
videos, guys,
Astartes.
go watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, so good.
Okay, back to Pitchford.
Yeah, anyway, Randy Pitchford, he is a bigwig in Gearbox Software, and Gearbox Software did Borderlands 3, and there's a whole bunch of crap that's going around the internet about what Randy Pitchford did to the company, and also what the company is doing
Well, more
to
like what they're insinuating he
its
did, which
employees.
has a lot of potential backing behind it just by the way he's acted, the things he said, and the things that have unfolded in real time. But pretty sure everyone's read the article by now. But the quick, short synopsis is employees of Gearbox are relatively underpaid with regards to the rest of industry. However, the company makes it up to them by giving them a profit-sharing bonus based on the games that they make and sell. And because of how good Borderlands 2 did, it was expected and touted by both management and figures within Gearbox that this bonus was going to be monumental because it was Borderlands 3, and it sold $5 million, I think, within its first week. Or 5
5
million
million
copies.
copies.
Way more than in the billions of dollars there. So
Yeah.
lots of money made, publicized. They all know about it. But then when bonus time comes around, Pitchford's like, yeah, it's not going to be that big, actually. And everyone's like, what? Wait, why? And he's like, well, it cost a lot to produce. We had to change engines in the middle of a development. That cost has to be recouped first, and then you get profit share. Anecdote, the way profit share works is 60% goes to upper management figures and company, and the other 40% of that profit share chunk goes to the rest of the employees. Randy Pitchford belongs into the upper chunk, not the chunk he was announcing, which is a big distinction. So he got his, and everyone else did not quite get theirs.
His
What
bonus,
makes
by the way, was $12 million.
million. One person. Million. Not
He-
shared, just Pitchford.
By the way,
Million.
Randy Pitchford, I don't know if anybody knows this out there in the world, but Randy Pitchford is an insane person. He is not a correct human. Like, it's really weird the way he
So
thinks.
it would be, okay, well, the bonus wasn't that big, and people were pretty bummed out because they were misled by the company people that this bonus was going to be substantial. But to put the icing on the cake and to explicitly frame Pitchford as an unredeemable human being, he let loose the line, and let me see if I can read it. It was stated that if they did not like the bonus, they were more than willing to quit the company and go somewhere else.
Yep.
Who in their right minds follows up with a, sorry, the bonus wasn't as big, but you can quit if you don't like it, is the perfect line someone would say that, well, I got what I wanted, and sucks to be you if you didn't get what you thought you wanted. End of story.
And I also want to add that we mentioned that Randy Pitchford received allegedly or a $12 million deal before, or $12 million bonus before the game was released, and
Yes,
that
the scandalous sum that no one is confirming.
And that the employees won't receive any of their profit shares until that payment, until their work repays Randy's bonuses as well. So
I didn't know it included that. That sucks even more.
that was something that was a rumor that came out like when the whole bonus story came out before the game was dropped. That was one of the stories that was leaked back in September or October.
Yeah, ways back.
Yeah.
And now
Wow.
they're just confirming that the employees will not be. They're still receiving a bonus, but not the amounts that were promised to them. And they said that if they don't like it, they can leave.
Which is the thing you don't tell an employee when you've promised big things and you don't deliver on them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one thing to say, okay, we don't know what we'll get, it is what it is, but the company, in order to lure people in my opinion, what happened is they intentionally misled them to get the work that they wanted out of these people, and then when it came time to deliver and it wasn't as big, they're like, it's okay, we got what we needed, so if they don't like it, they can leave. Pretty much garbage ways of handling this with employees.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't just treat people like garbage and expect them to just stay and suck it up. Some people will. That's the way some people are. But a lot of people I do not anticipate staying at Gearbox after this.
That's so slimy, like what they
It
did.
is.
It's so slimy.
Now,
Like from what I
business-wise,
understand,
you're going to maximize profits that way. Non-business-wise and the rest of humanity, you don't treat your people like that.
yeah, very true. Very true. From what I understand, there were more than a few people in Gearbox that were banking on this bonus to like buy property
Get
and
homes.
like get homes and like open up college funds and retirements and stuff. And that's just not going to happen for these people now.
For a game that has sold in the billions of
I
dollars.
think at
Is
this
it billions
point
or is it
they've
still in the hundreds of
sold
millions?
at
No,
this
isn't they
point
sold over $1 billion.
Wow. So it's a
$1 billion
billion
worth.
plus game,
Mhm.
and the employees are getting the shaft end of it.
And that's
Yeah.
just a game. That's not counting any like DLC purchases or anything like that I know of. But according to
Well,
reports,
part of the payback
Borderlands
did
3.
include the cost of DLC in their excuse, or quote, reason, if you
Yeah,
want to consider it
they
that.
did cite that as a cost that, like, for the reason why they wouldn't be getting a bonus was DLC work or
Well, they
something
got a
like that.
bonus, just not a very big bonus.
Yeah,
Now,
it wasn't what
in my
expected.
in my
Yeah.
own opinion, in an industry that I am now in, they actually give bonuses. That's not something I've ever experienced, but as a result, maybe I have a different mindset about bonuses because expect nothing and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, really.
So, to a certain degree, with fiscal management, you probably shouldn't depend on bonuses for part of your livelihood. However, I will also remember that Gearbox does not pay their employees at the median level of their industry, so they are relatively underpaid. So I can see why someone would look forward to something like this because of historical precedents.
Definitely.
So,
But
so I was going to mention that as well because in my industry, we actually do have bonuses in my specific department. And with my last company, we did not receive it for the past 2 years. But the bonus is part of your compensation package, which means they are paying you below industry and saying that you will recoup this as part
yeah.
of your compensation at the end of the year. And when you don't make it, but you know, not even your managers, but let's say the C-suite receives their bonuses.
Well, the
I'm
others
not
are
saying that
always
that
going to
happened
get
with
their
me.
bonuses. It always works like that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like it is very frustrating. Especially when the money that they're making comes at your hard
Your
work, your
expense.
late nights, your crunch time, you're missing some things from something with your
No,
family.
companies who do
Like
this do it with the knowledge that they will take advantage of their employees. They will
all the
make
time.
money. They will be fine. And if it doesn't work out for everyone else, meh, it's okay because the company's fine. It's
Yeah.
usually a company
Yeah.
bottom line mentality and has very little to do with employee life balance.
And honestly, that's a really scummy way to run a company. But it happens a lot because of capitalism.
It's just it could be done better, and I feel
Yeah.
for the people at Gearbox
Yes.
who are suffering through this. And I hope that, like, it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to support, I don't want to
Yeah.
support them anymore,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
I want
ask
the
you
people who
guys.
worked hard to like make that money. Like, I want them to make their money.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask you guys, does this change your position on whether or not you're going to be buying any Gearbox property in the future? Is this gonna like change the way you think about their IP and stuff?
I mean, potentially. It's the same kind of situation that BioWare's in. The way that they kind of abuse. Well, theirs is a little bit different. Theirs was more abuse of fan base, and it's not quite the fiscal abuse of their employees. It's more of abuse of the fan base, but along the same lines that when a company does something super scummy that they shouldn't be doing, they shouldn't be positively be reinforced with it by continuing to buy the thing that they're trying to dole out to you, which caused their terrible practices in the first place.
Yeah.
Also, Arcadius, we got a comment. Could you move your mic a little bit closer? You sound a little low.
Yep. How about now? Better? Yes, probably a little bit better. It was a little
That's
far away
probably
from my
better.
face.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Banana Berry.
Banana Berry, who, shout out to them, seems like they've been subscribed for 2 years and maybe never listened to our content because... Oh, never mind. Thanks for subscribing. Whatever.
Go enjoy yourself. There's hours
Yeah,
of
man.
it. Have fun.
Oh, man.
I suggest the Destiny rant. It's a good one.
That's like podcast number 2. Do you know how
I know,
far
that's why
away?
it's a good one.
Do you know how far away that is?
It's a great entry into the realm of what happens here sometimes.
Our anthem
Ooh, that's
decline
another
into
toasty
madness is
one.
pretty good. I'm just gonna say, but I think we closed out on our talk about Gearbox and their employees. So it's time for the Corona countdown.
I sang that yesterday. I'm so glad it stuck. COVID.
So
Where are we
there's
going with this?
Nowhere.
nowhere.
It was just for.
We're just spinning our wheels here in the Corona countdown.
This was just to get you to continue singing. So when we do
Oh,
get that sound,
okay, all right.
we can clip that.
Well, there you go.
But Corona Countdown is just us putting together some stories that directly talk about gaming's or the pandemic's impact on gaming. One of the first things we're going to talk about is delays in games. The first is that Sony is delaying The Last of Us 2 and Iron Man VR indefinitely.
Yes.
Scorch, take that away.
All right. So before I have to have a quick aside, I must digress for just a moment. Just to have a fun little tidbit and also a word of warning to all of our listener that it is not advised to try and get rid of COVID by burning down 5G towers in the UK. Okay.
Oh my god.
Because that's happening. People are burning down 5G cell towers in the UK because they think it's spreading COVID. That's not how that works.
Whoever made that poster that tried to draw parallels between every pandemic and every new intro generation of G wireless network.
That's definitely not how that works. All right. But anyway.
Who
That's
owns
about
those
like
towers?
when they said stick your iPhones in the microwave to dry them off when they're wet.
Well, let's face it, they own an iPhone, so, whatever.
I know, but people did it, and it was funny and sad at the same time.
Some schadenfreude for you. Anyway, delays. So Sony announced that The Last of Us 2 and Iron Man VR are delayed indefinitely. Their official response is that they want to maximize the player experience across the board for everyone that could potentially buy the game. So for logistical reasons, they're citing that the supply chain is not there to the point where they would be able to ship the game to everyone at once. So they're waiting for a point where they could get it to everybody at the same time. And that is a pretty nice and pretty PC way to go about this. But I have another idea that I'd like to bounce off of you guys about this. And where we may be entering the speculation zone here.
Ooh.
If you don't mind.
Speculation zone.
I have this idea that... Okay, so The Last of Us, if you've never played it, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go and play Last of Us. It is a post-apocalyptic world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I'm thinking that they don't want to release it right now is that releasing a game about a post-apocalyptic world is a little too close to home right now when there's a pandemic. Yep. And we are closer to an apocalypse than, like an actual physical, tangible apocalypse than we have ever been before.
People play games to get away from reality.
Yeah.
If you're right next to it, you're like, wow, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
Freaking Phil's sick next door, and I'm over here playing.
On top of that,
ugh.
On top of that, The Last of Us 2 features an apocalypse brought about by a zoonotic disease.
Mm-hmm.
So, which COVID is a zoonotic disease. So,
Probably
the
not the best of
correlation is
timing.
there. But here's where the speculation zone comes in. I'm not done, all right? I'm still connecting the dots here, all right?
Connect those dots.
Follow along with me, camera guy. That was a what was that? A fucking ShamWow call out. Anyway, so what I want to know from you guys is this specific thing going to change video game genres from here on out? Like, are these games that are going to be coming out, not necessarily in this production cycle because those games are already kind of set in stone about where they want to go, but after that, are we going to see a shift away from post-apocalypse into something else? Because people have experienced that a little bit more closely than they would want to.
Okay, two things. Off the cuff, I'm going to say no. I'll give you my reason in a second, but
Okay,
I want to offer
agree.
you. I'm going to offer you Banana Berry's counter a point there, giving them the benefit of the doubt. They could just be trying to get the most money possible, with probably millions of people not working who will be able to buy the game.
That's very true. That's a very valid point.
You don't have liquid funds just sitting around waiting to burn a hole in your pocket. You got to go to the grocery store once every week and a half to 2 weeks to get your food for your family in which you're not working or making money.
Food, yeah, definitely.
Got to stretch the dollar.
So, but I will say, like, my broad, I do believe that them postponing could be partly because of the timeliness of the story. But I don't think that it would stop that genre. I think we would actually see an outgrowth more than we have now, just because people have lived it, they have experienced it, and we as humans, we are a symbol-using, storytelling beings, and we use stories to process things. And I would offer, I'm doing this really, really quickly, but I would offer Japan's response broadly, Japanese cinema's response to the World War II bombings.
Are you going to talk about Godzilla?
Yes, Godzilla as evidence that we'll probably see something more like that in our video games. Like, not Godzilla itself, but where we're reinterpreting or these responses. And because, like, post-apocalyptic stories are already in our, like, cultural lexicon, it'll just be, I don't want to say easier, but it's a subject that we're already used to. I don't think anyone particularly, I was about to say I don't think anyone particularly wants to go there right now because they're living it. But I'm actually really curious to see what the division's numbers are right now.
Yeah,
because we are literally living in the division.
Yes.
Well, we are very close to
at
it
Christmas
at least.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it started in December.
Technically, it started in December. Technically, it just didn't reach us in December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the time when they were accosting the doctor that brought it up. But
yep.
What an interesting time we live in.
But I want to tie that in with one of the other topic points, which was the Final Fantasy creators who are not waiting to ship that sucker. And
that is
they
true.
are shipping it, but they're doing it in stages because of the logistical problems they're having, but they're barreling forward with it.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, whether I think Sony or Square Enix or any other entity decides or decides not to ship a certain product, I don't think it matters either way. I think that if you have disposable income and you want to play the game, then people are going to buy it and they're going to play the game. Now, they did make the note of, hey, guys, don't spoil anything since certain regions will get it before others, which is kind of the norm anyways with the way releases work, and people play games in the time that they have to play them. So if someone is specifically looking for spoilers, then they'll go look for them. If they don't want to look for spoilers, then more than likely, if they just don't go to certain areas of the internet, they know there's going to be spoilers, then they'll be fine, and they can just wait for the game to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe
Or
Square
wait
Enix...
wait for them to play it and after it's come out.
Yeah.
So,
I believe Square Enix said that they were shipping to Europe and Australia first
yes.
out of everywhere. And I understand Europe, but why Australia? Just because their supply chain is closer?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. I
I-
thought a
I
lot of
honestly-
that hardware and media is made in the Philippines, which is basically right there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, as far as Australia, it can be right there.
Yeah. Well, they're closer to the Philippines than they are to us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I'm just as someone who pre-ordered it, I'm sitting here wondering if they're going to do like early digital release.
I didn't
And
know
like-
you pre-ordered it.
Oh.
Oh wait,
yeah.
hold on. Did you already receive the gigantic plastic motorcycle? Is that the one that we're talking about right now?
Okay, I did not spend that much money, but I considered it.
The possibility was there.
All right. I think
It
it was
was
one of my other friends from my previous job pre-ordered it and
The
got
Super Edition?
the cloud and
Oh my
motorcycle combo that was like $140 or something like that.
It
was-
looked awesome. Like, honestly, it looked amazing. But here's the
mean,
thing.
God, dude, it's a hunk of plastic.
So that's the thing. Like, I know if I got into that, like, realm of collecting, it would be terrible because, one, I grew up loving dolls and collecting Barbies, and my mom collected, like, figurines anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, that's already in me. And then
It's
I
in
love...
there in
beast.
me.
And then,
the
like,
beast.
no, because there's so many things I love. You have no idea how many Kakashi Sensei like dolls, or excuse me, action figures / models that I have not bought over the years. He's one of my favorite manga characters ever. He has some of the most amazing statues ever.
Yeah, dude.
And I just can't go down that road
Plus-
because they get freaking expensive.
I mean, his ultimate 1,000 years of pain technique is pretty badass.
Oh man, it would just be too much money.
Zoop.
Too much money.
Oh, where do we go from here? Oh.
From here, there's some more in the Corona countdown. We talked about the delays. Let's talk about one more delay, which is Amazon's foray into gaming.
Okay.
It's been delayed, but it's still coming.
So I didn't know that. I knew that Amazon was doing some kind of like streaming service eventually, but I thought their only game in the works was New World, and that was like their MMO thing that they're working on. I didn't know they had another one already lined up that they've been working on for a while.
And that one's called Crucible.
Yep. Crucible.
Yeah. I didn't. That completely flew under the radar for me.
So
But
Crucible.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Crucible
Oh,
flew under
crap,
the radar for me.
lava! Okay, sorry.
I did know. I just thought it was New World, and I knew, like from a year or two ago, that Amazon had been starting to work on a Lord of the Rings MMO. And so, like, I knew that one. And if anyone is in the gaming industry, and needs some jobs, they're still hiring positions for that game. If you go
Yeah.
to the careers page, but I didn't know about Crucible either. So I'm like, where is this game even coming from?
I will mention that one of the things that people made note of is that those games are going to be available through Steam, and they're not bothering to start up their own internal gaming website stuff. They'll just use what's available, and once they're going to test the waters, see if it takes off, and if it does, then they'll start diving deeper. But I think they might be doing this slightly on the experimental side.
Well, they do have a launcher service or platform. Let's call it a platform in progress that they've codenamed Tempo, but they have no plans to like launch it at this time.
Honestly, I don't blame them. There's some serious backlash with launching a new platform right now.
Yeah, and right now definitely. And then Google Stadia didn't do that well when it launched either, and it wasn't in the middle of a crisis. So
Well, like Google Stadia is a gigantic fucking dumpster fire piece of trash in its own right. Like there are
Probably
other
why it didn't do
things.
so well.
There are other things that are wrong with it other than it's a new
Yeah.
service. Like there's oh man. Just that gif of that guy hitting the spacebar and then his character hopping up like 2 seconds later, it is
That's
enough.
to kill it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've seen that gif, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's really rough, man.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
yeah.
What were we talking about before this?
No, we were just talking about Amazon and their 2 games. I think the other thing that they mentioned, which is I think we've all kind of figured something like this would happen, but since Amazon owns Twitch, they're also working on what they're calling casual games that broadcasters can play with their viewers.
Yeah.
And which I think is actually kind of interesting. I really liked this happened a long time ago, but I really enjoyed when I was playing the Batman the Telltale Batman game, which was a nightmare first of all because of the whole control settings. But I did like the crowd game portion of it, where you guys selected the what I should do, what I should choose on the choose your own adventure sections and go through the game that way. So if there are things like that, or like integration where if I'm playing like a team-based game and like viewers can come in and play and see how poorly I play.
Well, Vass, I was gonna say, like when you were playing the Batman series, I did enjoy your multiple Batman slaps on big hard glass when you were playing it. Just watching Batman whack himself against the glass like some mayfly. It was great.
It was terrible.
I
was
loved
playing
it. I loved it so much, Fast. You were the perfect person to play those games. It was amazing. It was so
frustrating.
funny.
It was so frustrating because I was playing with the PlayStation controller plugged into my laptop, and so it recognized the controller, but it was giving me Microsoft, or not
It was
Microsoft,
giving
but
you Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have never owned an Xbox. It was the worst
Xbox
thing in the
prompt.
world.
Yeah.
And so then, when I saw the X and Y there, I immediately tried to use X and Y like it was a Nintendo product, because I know
Nope.
X and Y from Nintendo. And it's reversed. It was terrible. It was a lot of fun, though.
Oh, it was great. It was a great time. That was so long ago, though. Oh my gosh.
Banana Berry has a little comment here that says Google Stadia sucked, and that I'd rather no life Roblox than play on a Google Stadia.
Sick burn, man. That's
But
That's
all
hardcore.
truth, Banana Berry, did you actually play the Stadia? Because I've never physically played the Stadia, but I watched enough to know I don't want to play the Stadia.
I think there's about 8 people in the entire world that play Stadia right now.
Now, come on, you know that Google
I'm talking
employees...
about have played, as in like spent physical time on it and then went meh and
Yeah.
then put it down.
You know Google employees are forced to play it for 3 hours a day, every day.
You are
While wearing their
contractually
Google
obligated
Glass.
by Google to play
To play
Stadia.
this, no matter if you like it or not. And then you must write a 3-page summary on your experience of this game.
You must get on Twitter and spend the whole 240 characters talking about how Google Stadia is such a good product.
Or we're taking away your benefits package.
Yep.
Yeah.
No more candy room for you.
Oh my gosh. Imagine, well, I mean, I work in a place with a nap room, but imagine working on
You
place
work from
with a
home.
nap room.
You work from home. That doesn't count.
You work in a nap room.
I am a nap room. Okay. Rolling forward on our coronavirus news, we got 3 more topics here. I actually misnumbered this. Don't look. Another state has closed down GameStop.
Massachusetts.
Thank you. Thank goodness.
If nobody has been keeping track, GameStop has tried to market themselves as an essential company here in this
Which is
coronavirus
hilariously ludicrous.
crisis. Yes. And there have been an incredible amount of like backlash on the internet and also
Governments.
various who was the first one? Pennsylvania. The governor of Pennsylvania revoked their business license for the state. And
Hilarious.
now it seems like Massachusetts has decided to bring the ban hammer down on this company too.
Also,
Yeah, of course.
food for thought on this exact topic. There is an individual whom I'm forgetting right now what their name is. They used to work at GameStop for a while, and they managed to get a conference call number, and the video went up. And right now, GameStop has flagged it and is trying to take it down. So go listen to it before they might actually succeed at it for various legal reasons and such. But they go into basically, you can see for yourself the scum of the earth that these people are, and that how highly they believe in themselves and their own pay schemes and company schemes to keep making money during the pandemic.
But we covered that in the previous podcast. So if you're interested, go listen to it.
Just as a continuation on the story, just the Boston Globe reported that the GameStop leadership had told employees to wrap their hands in plastic or wear gloves when handing off orders to customers.
What a wonderful aside. Or you could just wear.
Or
you may choose plastique.
Yeah. We've got plenty of Wonder Bread wrappers for you. Or, you can get some gloves. That's cool too.
Yeah, that's if you can find them at Costco. It's just one of those things where, like, I honestly get it. One, they're not essential, but they are hemorrhaging dollars left and right. They're trying to restructure, and if they close down, it's more than likely the end of GameStop, which is more than likely the end of jobs for a lot of people who work there. On the other hand, if your employee base gets super sick and, God forbid, dies, then you won't have an employee base.
Then it won't matter.
That's true.
Then it won't matter.
It will matter.
So, basically, screw you, GameStop.
Yeah, really.
That's the sum of it.
Oh, man. Oh, GameStop. Why do you do this?
Money.
Well, speaking of money, ESPN is turning to esports to fill dead air.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, and I honestly think this is going to boost the gaming industry just a little more, because now people who have never even known that esports were a thing are going to be like, these people are playing video games on TV.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, yeah, they do this all the time.
It's a thing,
like,
dude.
Oh.
Like, people win millions of dollars playing video games. Like, it's competition, dude.
Yep.
The interesting thing about to me, the interesting thing about this is that some of the esports that they will be showing will feature celebrities, because there's a lot of athletic talent who are sitting at home right now, unable to do the things that that they're paid to do. So they're working with ESPN to, I think there's going to be like a 16 bracket event, NBA 2K event, where 16 NBA players will participate. So that'll be something for, people who really enjoy the NBA and gaming. It's like a crossover. I don't even know.
Is it just me who thinks that that's weird?
What?
That the NBA people are going to get on the video games and play themselves?
No, I don't really think so.
Okay. I think they love it, though.
It's just me,
that's getting a little bit closer to that hypothetical situation of, if you had a clone, would you have sex with it? Like that kind of thing?
I mean, I can see where you're going
Does
with
it count as masturbation? Like,
I don't. Well,
we need to stop that topic before it forays any deeper. That's a danger zone topic. We're gonna leave that to the bottom parts of the internet
Oh,
and just continue
goodness.
right where we left off.
Oh.
But it's just, I mean, but the NBA aren't the only ones. There's going to be Formula One racers who are also going to participate in an F1 sim game,
Yeah.
and they'll be streamed on ESPN, and then they'll actually have tournament games, I guess, from previous esport events that will be running on ESPN. So
yeah, quick aside. This especially hit home today when I walked by my father, who was sitting in his chair, looking at a video game, talking about his favorite racers that were playing the video game that he was
So it's
watching.
happening.
It's happening, and he's
it's
sitting
happening
there.
in real time.
He's sitting there going, "Look, they're playing the video game. It looks exactly like the race that was going to happen
Oh
today.
my God!
Look
What?
at it." So yeah, it's happening, you guys. It
Oh my
happened
goodness.
in the house, like right here. It happened, you
Wow.
guys.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we should also say, I'm going to throw some stats out here, that Twitch is one of the main platforms for streaming services. And according to a article on The Verge, the platform went from 982 million hours watched in February to 1.1 billion hours in March.
Holy crap.
Wow. That's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hours. And so part of it is because there's so many more people at home right now, but the other part is, if they're being more and more exposed to streaming, then ESPN will undoubtedly get some viewership, especially if you're pairing celebrities with it.
Yeah.
Quite.
I mean, I know quite a few people that watch sports and turn their nose up at video games. So, like, for them to sit there and see their favorite sports ball player dude play a
You mean
video
their latest
game.
Madden player?
Yeah, exactly. Sit there and play a video game for fun. They might sit there and go, "Oh, oh, this may be a thing that I could get into. What should I play?" So, yeah.
Feeding the beast.
You can tell I'm not an incredibly huge fan of those people, but
No.
Banana Berry says that they still refuse to support Twitch.
Why is that, Benedberry? Why would you choose something like that? I'd like to know your opinion.
They say, I just find their past circumstances are something I can't support.
Okay. To each his own, I suppose. I mean, if you want to build a stream viewership base, that's where you go. As here we sit and stream on YouTube.
There's always Mixer.
There is Mixer. I signed us up for a Mixer, and then they said, well, you're going to have to wait 24 hours before we can get you your stream key so we can make sure you're legit. And then I never checked back with them. So we
never got the stream key.
Yeah, we never got the stream key. But I do believe it is Mixer that is handing out $100 to all of their streamers in support of them during this pandemic, which is kind of a cool thing if you're taking a look at it. I mean, $100, it's not a lot, but it's at least
$100.
It shows that like Mixer at least is like taking a look and taking stock at their streamers and saying we're gonna help you a little bit, and it's something, I'm sure it's gonna win over a few people, but we'll see how far this goes. I don't know that $100 is gonna stretch very far, but
Yeah. Speaking of things that won't stretch very far, E3 2020.
I enjoy your segue, Vast.
Thank you.
I tip my hat to you.
Thank you very much. I'm actually kind of proud of myself, patting myself on the back. But E3 is down in 2020. The most recent report saying that they tried very hard to get a lot of industry gaming publishers and the big names to join in for their digital E3 service that they were proposing, and that fell flat on its face. Meanwhile, IGN announced this past week, that they were going to provide a quote-unquote summer of gaming, and they have the names of like Square Enix and Namco Bandai and some other heavy hitters in the gaming industry as being a part of their summer streaming service or summer streaming event. So my question is that E3 is supposed to come back in 2021, but will it be E3? Will it be able to retain its relevance in this like post-pandemic age when it kind of shows that Sony left? Sony had left E3 like this year, and everyone is kind of able to do it on their own now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like E3 was kind of fading long before this. Like, Sony has not been a part of actual E3 in, I think, more than a couple of years. And you were seeing content creators and producers and big name companies in the video game world move out of E3 and host their own events and stream their own events around the same time. Like Electronic Arts has been doing their own thing for a very long time. Ubisoft has been doing their own thing for a very long time. And Sony didn't even have a physical presence anywhere for the last couple of years. They've just been putting out like a PlayStation Nintendo
State of
ripoff
play.
thing. Yeah, State of Play.
State of
There we
play.
go. And really, if you condense it down to that, it's not a bad thing, you know? And you're also not nearly as likely to contract a virus from your own home as you are in a big, crowded convention center filled with a bunch of nerdy mouth breathers, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll call it E3 anymore, but I think that if it does die, it'll just get rebranded and renamed as a new thing because, like anything else, it's just a unifying junction of common interests and companies and things. So
Yeah.
if they think it starts becoming too mainstream and they're not getting
E1.
enough visibility, they'll do their own thing for a while. And then at some point in time, they'll be like, well, guys, why don't we all just get together and do this thing? And then they'll be like, okay. And then they'll argue, they'll get equal time slots, and then you'll basically be back on the same bandwagon that E3 used to be in its prime.
Yeah.
So it might change names, it might change forms, but I think like any other type of common interest thing, there will always be some manifest of a mass physical presence to be had for that kind of thing.
Yeah. One of the things that I did want to mention about E3 and it going away, and it going away hard in this year, is something that the great and illustrious Jason Schreier wrote when they announced that E3 was not going to happen this year, was that what is really going to hurt out of E3 is all of the small developers meeting all of the publishers organically, and all of the meetings and handshakes that would organically happen at a convention like that is just not something that is just going to be seen. And there's going to be a lot less opportunity. There's going to be a lot less money flow to the small guys now.
Which is precisely why I think that will still exist, but maybe in a different form in the future, because certain entities and companies need that face time.
Yeah. At any rate, I mean, I agree with you guys. Like, we're going to be seeing some kind of event like that. It's going to exist in some form or another at all times, as long as this industry is still at least profitable or there's an interest in it. But
And it is, because I think that I saw in one of the articles, and forgive me because I don't remember which one, but gaming is projected to make over 160 billion in the coming year, which was above the music industry and the film industry, which I think the film industry they had at like Oh gosh, I need to find that article. But the
Lots.
film industry, I think it was a lot, but it wasn't 160. I think they had it like under 100 billion.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
still lots.
gaming industry,
Mm-hmm.
we're here to stay, fuckers.
Yeah. Well, it's my second favorite mode of media and storytelling right now. So
What's your first? Comic books?
no, it's my first is still anime or animation. I think
Okay.
it's the perfect. It is one of the most perfect blends of storytelling, music, and art. And I know video games have that as well, but sometimes I don't want to interact.
You just want to be
And
entertained, yeah.
I just want to be entertained, and that's why animation and anime are my favorite form of
I got you.
media entertainment right now.
I got you. I got you. Well, you guys, there's something that I've spoken about, but it was not on our list. Sorry, Vast. That I want to hit right quick. I mentioned it in the beginning, and it's one thing that is probably not going to entertain you very well, and that is the Inside Gaming Podcast that had to do what we do all the goddamn time, and they're fucking scrubs at it. Eat shit, you fucking shit eaters. We're so much better than you right now. You should listen to us. We're so much better. Oh my god. All right, so
You
Inside
done?
Gaming. No, I
Oh.
still want to rub their faces in it. Inside
Let
Gaming.
the hate flow.
Yeah, it's what I do best, Fast.
It's out of control!
Inside Gaming used to be the No, and it used to be housed in Rooster Teeth, and it's still Rooster Teeth adjacent. But once Inside Gaming and as part of Machinima disappeared, they reacquired the rights to the name, and so most of the people that were working on Inside Gaming had already moved to Rooster Teeth and Rooster Teeth Properties, so they just took the name and then restarted where they were going. But what they're doing now, because of physical distancing and all that, is that they've had to move their properties that they do in like face to face, like their podcast. They have to do it from the comfort of their own homes now, and they're seriously not good at it. And we are. And I'm telling you this in hopes of one, inflaming passions, and two, spreading our name across the goddamn stars because we're better. We are better. And I know it. And I know it, okay? You guys, we're so. Oh, man. All right. Okay. I'm
Well,
better.
I'll just go. I didn't watch it, but I do want to say that our chemistry is pretty good. Our lists are far superior to anything that anyone else out there is putting together.
You tell him. You tell him.
And yeah,
Gonna get
I also think
listed?
we're funny, but that's just us.
Dude, we're hilarious. We're the best thing since sliced bread.
Quintessential funny bone.
So, okay, so I did listen to their podcast most recently, and their mic quality was not great. Um, they were missing beats, both story and topic and humor, and out of the
We're not just
uh,
talking about like an off day type thing.
no, I'm talking about like they didn't jive together
Well,
as
let's be honest. Was it the newer kids?
so it was Brian Garr and Caden Jensen and like two other people.
Okay.
And mad props to Caden Jensen and Brian Garr. They do some great things. And Caden Jensen has been with Rooster Teeth for a very long time, and I appreciate her. But like they just didn't jive together. And on top of all of that, they had a fourth guy there that you could never hear the entire podcast. They were talking, and it was just blank,
Oh.
and then they would react to it, and you
Oh,
never.
so they just had someone who wasn't even plugged into the same mic system.
Yeah, who was talking, but you never heard them the
Oh,
entire podcast.
gosh.
So, like, it was
Terrible.
disjointed and odd, and we're better, and you should listen to us till the end of time.
Plug,
Well,
plug,
that
plug,
goes
plug,
without
plug, plug,
saying.
plug, plug.
That goes without. The next week they're gonna knock it out the park, and we'll have to eat candy.
Eat
I'm not about to
candy?
eat crow.
I mean,
don't
I'll
eat
eat
crow.
candy.
I don't eat crow, but I'll eat candy.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
I'll eat candy.
I feel
There's
better
still
now.
a couple. Well, I feel good too because we rock. And there's a couple more things on this masterful list. We'll do something really quick and light. If you are looking for things to do during your quarantine, the Valorant closed beta starts April 7th.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, for those of
So
you who
I
are not
watched
in
that game intro, and I don't know what to think about it. It looks like a really bumped down version of Rainbow Six and Overwatch combined together in something that's like not quite all there. Obviously, it's a beta, but
Ooh, telling the truth.
it just it doesn't have a like not even so much as the forefront of character story to bring you in and go, hey, you should play this because not only are some of these characters pretty cool, but you'll get to do all these other things as well. It's just more like a, hey, we made a multiplayer game. It's kind of like Rainbow Six Siege, and
Yeah.
that already, right by itself, is going to make people go, probably not then.
Like, but we already have Rainbow Six. Like,
Why do we want
would you do
another
that?
Rainbow Six with different
So,
skin on it?
when
you
I-
grubbing people.
When I took a look at it, that was immediately what I thought too. Whoa, this is just Rainbow Six repackaged, and
With a little Overwatch flair.
with a little Overwatch. It was Rainbow Overwatch, and
Rainbow. Yeah, exactly.
Rainbow Watch.
and
We're glad that could tickle
oh my
you.
God,
I want to watch that show.
Rainbow Overwatch? No, you don't.
Rainbow Overwatch, yes,
It's
I
lame.
do.
that
It's
was
lame.
it probably existed in the late '80s or early '90s, and there's a theme song to it that
Oh.
you're gonna make us watch, just like
Rainbow Overwatch.
what Hammerman.
Oh man, did it? Okay. Side note: one day I'm going to make you watch the Mr. T, the Mr.
we
T
not?
cartoon opening.
Could,
Yes,
could we
Mr.
not?
T had his own TV show.
Could we
Yeah, I knew that.
and say we did? Could we not
No,
say we did?
you knew he had his own cartoon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, I have one episode of it still somewhere back in our tapes, our tape library, and I feel like they helped the gymnastic team get to like their state playoffs or something like that. It was weird. Anyway, that was an
No,
aside.
it
Let's
was
keep
T.
going. I'm pity the fool.
Oh man. So so for the people going back to Rainbow Overwatch, for the people that enjoy that kind of gameplay, there's already Overwatch, or not Overwatch. Well, there is Overwatch, but like Rainbow Six. There's already
Yeah.
Rainbow Six. And for the people that are not into gameplay that is like Rainbow Six, it's really not something somebody looks for. I know that Arcadius and I played a little bit of Rainbow Six, like on a free
It was
weekend
stressful.
or when it was
Ooh.
cheap or something like that.
It was stressful. I'm
And
just throwing
I
it out
can't do
there.
I
Give me
was
a good Battlefield any day.
I was like on the edge of it for a little while, but it was manageable, but it absolutely destroyed Arcadius. And that's not a game you play by yourself, so I went
No,
ahead and
I
let
tried
go.
playing by myself and just I couldn't get in the rhythm. It's a pace of rhythm that almost resembles COD, and that's not a pace I enjoy. And to make it worse, you die faster.
Yeah, you die really fast.
Like
So
it's yeah. I'm too used to playing games that have substantial health meters, health bars, overtime status effect type stuff. And I mean, Battlefield is somewhat instant, but not in the same class of instant as
yeah.
Rainbow Six. Very different.
I watched them play, and it was too stressful for me. It reminded me of like there was oh gosh, what was this show? The remake of Battlestar Galactica. I watched one episode of that, and my shoulders got
You were
so
sore?
tight. Like, because I was so tense, and that's how I felt. Wow, like every move was high stakes.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so
that's
that's how
Rainbow
I
Six.
felt.
If you
That was
step
Rainbow
out of the
Six.
room and look the wrong direction by 2 degrees, you won't see the dude who's been sitting there for 5 minutes peeking through that windowsill and he's about to dome you effortlessly.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
what some people
painful.
are looking for, but that's just
Oh,
not what
yeah.
I'm looking for.
It's
Like I said, for the people that are looking for that, they already have it, and it's Rainbow Six.
yeah, don't know why you need another flavor of the same exact thing so they
Yeah.
can make money off of you. 'Cause
While
that's what
I
they're trying to do, guys.
Yeah. While I
Trying
am
to pull the wool
happy
over your
that
eyes.
Riot Games is branching out and they're not just doing League of Legends anymore, which, by the way, is not the greatest property because I don't really like that kind of game anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of MOBAs either. Although
Yeah.
I did like, shoot that game, Gigantic. I
Battleborn?
did
Oh,
like
I thought you-
Gigantic. I liked Battleborn's humor. I
Yeah.
didn't like the MOBA part of it because I don't like MOBAs, but I did like Gigantic, and that was a game that I wish had some, like, if that came back as a comic, like a web comic, I would be really excited.
Yeah, it had really cool character design and stuff.
Yeah, the core character design and the coloring, it was just beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
it
call
was.
me, gosh, Motiga Game Studio, was that it? Anyway, call me, we'll work on a storyline, and we'll put it together as a webcomic.
Yeah. That would be cool. I would watch some Gigantic anime. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
I would too. I think it would be too. Another quick news story. The Windbound game finally dropped their announcement trailer this week. It will be coming to all platforms, including PC, sometime this summer. I believe it was August. Did you guys take a look at the trailer for this?
I took a look at some of the art, but honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard anything about this. So I'd really like a rundown from you if you could enlighten me.
Okay, so it's from a studio called Five Live Studio. I think they're in New Zealand, but don't quote me on that. It is a
Fast
beautiful.
Empires 2020.
It's a beautiful looking game that immediately reminded me of Wind Waker,
Hmm.
and the movie Moana. And and I don't mean that in like a negative sense. It just evoked a really sprawling
Moana-y?
sailing, yeah, like a sailing
Moana
game.
Waker.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. But it's really
Moana
beautiful. On the other hand, it really reminded me of Wind Waker. And
Is
The
that a
art
good thing or
style
a bad
looks very
thing?
similar.
I think it's a good thing because it's coming from a very strong roots. And I do feel that more people who either are turned off by Nintendo or haven't had the opportunity to play any of the recent Legend of Zelda games, it's giving them an opportunity to have that kind of action-adventure game sense
Hmm.
with a new character. On the other hand, why not just play Wind Waker? Or why not just play Breath of the Wild? Because those games are phenomenal. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I really want to play this game to see what the differentiators are, outside of it just looking really gorgeous.
I got you. Okay, that's cool. I don't really have anything other to say than that.
Yeah, I would watch the trailer though, or the announcement trailer though. It looks really pretty. It looks really, really pretty.
Cool.
Okay, let's hit a big topic.
Let's do it.
Shoot.
Epic making money
Pew.
moves.
So, do we want to talk about how collectively the internet really, really hated Epic Games in the beginning, and now it's kind of quieted down just a little bit?
They're being slightly less douchey, and people are recognizing it.
Well, let's flip that really quick. Just let's lead with the actual story and then talk about the cool down.
Do it.
If only because I think it kind of is a really interesting like position Epic finds itself in. but just to quickly recap, if you're not familiar, Epic Games this week announced a multi-platform publishing deal with Remedy Entertainment, which did Control, Play Dead,
Mm-hmm.
which did uh, I can't remember,
I can't remember
Limbo,
either. Oh, they did.
Limbo and
Yeah.
Inside, and then Gen Design, which did Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
And the deal seems really developer friendly. The
The
developers
hook.
it
It's
will
the hook
retain.
until the next contract renews with different requirements.
This is
Okay.
true,
All right, man.
but as of
This is
right
how
now,
companies do this. They do this all the time. They give you something nice and sweet to bite on. They get you in. They get you integrated with infrastructure, integrated with the cross-team communications, the procedures in place that will make it the norm, and then boom, they change it for them to make more money, and it's harder to get out and start working with other people
And
because
then
of how ingrained you
suddenly,
are.
oh, you're not getting the bonus that you were going to get.
It lends itself to be nice now, which I will admit what the 50-50 splits they're offering developers with upfront paying for a lot of the development is super enticing, but there is no such thing as a free lunch. It will come at a
That's
cost
true.
later that they are not anticipating right now and not looking forward to because they see the short term carrot and they're like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. They eat the short term carrot and they go, wait, where's the next one? Psych, there isn't. You owe us this now.
There is no carrot.
there is no carrot. But like
Yeah.
The
Arcadia
cake is
says,
a
the
lie.
the cake
It's
that they're offering right now is 100%. The developer retains 100% of their intellectual property and creative control. They will receive a 50-50 profit share, and Epic says it will cover up to 100% of the development costs for the game. And that
Let's not diminish
includes
this. That is good for
that
any
is yes.
developer of any caliber, of any size. That's a swanky deal.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
end.
And that is in line with what the developer focused relationship that Epic's started with the Epic Game Store. One of the things with Epic Game Store when they did their first announcement is they had better splits for developers, as well as a host of other things that were more geared towards the developers and bringing them over to bring their games to the store. It didn't necessarily pan out for the gamers, though, the people who are using their store, and that's what puts them in such a weird position. And now, Scorch, please take it away.
Oh, it's me? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
where am I going with this? I was not
Dropping you in the
prepared.
dropping you in the hot seat to talk about what you wanted to talk about before about people disliking the Epic Game Store.
Oh, okay. Well, um, from from my perspective, honestly, right now, with Epic being such a new storefront out in the world that's competing with Steam and people being so used to Steam and not having another competitor that they're going to have to deal with, along with like those like nothing competitor launchers that nobody gives a shit about, like Origin and Uplay and stuff like that that nobody's ever used. I feel like when the Epic Store does things like this and try to gain more credibility and more of a foothold within the gaming community and the publishers at large and stuff like that, and it really torqued up a whole bunch of PC gamers that this was happening and they would have to adapt to a new world. And
They know the future ramifications. They know
that's
the writing on the
really
wall.
that's really short-sighted of them to think that things are always going to be the way they are. And there is never a point in time where you can sit back and think this will never change forever. That's not how any of this works. That's not how life works. That's not how the universe works. it is in a constant state of flux. So the fact that you're throwing a little fucking hissy fit about, oh, I'm gonna have to download a new launcher and we're just gonna have to deal with it, is really kind of stupid. So, like, you can take all your toys and you can go home. You're gonna hang out with Steam, but if you really want that thing that the Epic Store is offering, you're gonna have to suck it up. All right. So, like,
Bottom line is they're gonna buy it. Bottom line.
just fucking calm
Eventually.
down.
It's a
All
matter
right.
of time.
You don't have to be a little whiny baby about it. This is like things are changing. Deal with it. I think
Especially
that's where I was going.
Well, I would say especially right now when for the next year or so, or 5 years, or 10 years, however long these contracts are in place, it's really benefiting the developer, and it could be a nightmare experience for them. But if it's a really positive experience, there's no telling what kind of games we're going to get over the next year or two, because there won't be publisher meddling in it. You know, there won't be someone saying, you know, I don't know, we don't like.
That is the carrot. You are explicitly explaining how good this carrot is, and you're not wrong. However, at the very next moment, it is possible, putting my own, what do you call it, speculation zone hat on, for
Ooh,
them
the
to
speculation zone.
yeah, this isn't valid anymore, we're going to do it this way now. And then the developers are like, but what? And if this happens in the middle of a development cycle, they will get short-ended, they will get shafted, and there will be nothing legally to do about it. And it'll be the next great epic stink.
I do also say that this is going to reveal some of the issues that are kind of hidden from us in the game development space, where we kind of saw it bubbling up with like Destiny originally, and Anthem now, and even the Star Citizen game.
Oh,
where
I have something to say about that.
Without reigns, without any reigns over a company, if there's not good project management, if there's not good management like from the top down, then we can see some really major problems coming out of gaming studios that have nothing to do with the publisher. So that's going to reveal some things too. However, in a perfect world, right now it is more beneficial for the developers, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. At any rate, like there's an amount of change in everything, and if it doesn't work, people are gonna go other places. If it does, this is going to be more of a permanent thing, and you're just gonna have to fucking deal with it.
At
And
least you don't have to buy a new console.
that's true. I personally am really tired about, and it seems like it happens in gaming culture a lot, especially PC gaming, of like whiny baby people that decide that they want it perfectly their way every single time, and it's never going to change, and it's always going to be exactly the way they want it 100% of always. And it's really like opposite of how I think about the world, and it just like it torques me every single time thinking about it. You know what I mean?
I do actually. I really do. I was going to ask, was it Devolver Digital who had the trailer last year about a launcher for your launcher?
I think so. Yeah.
That was
Your
pretty funny.
launcher.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah.
They're pretty funny people.
Devolver spoofs everything, and it's great. And I never want them to change after I say that everything is in a state of change.
Just that thing. Screw everything else, but that thing in particular.
I don't want them to lose their humor in this constant state of flux. How about that?
Yeah. Well,
let's say negative flux.
Positive and
seemingly what we're bringing up is negative flux.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was about to use my my Jedi as a different point of view, but when you talk about that, there are some things that have changed that I'm just a little leery about, like when Google dropped their "do no harm" or "do no evil" statement from their core values. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Kind of about the time when they also instituted a new secret update policy to their trackers that suck out way more personal information and they're no longer obligated to tell you about. That one's another doozy.
Yeah.
The two completely different things, but
Yes.
just in the realm of change.
It's there. It's happening.
It's there. And this isn't like a disruptive change that's geared to help someone else.
No, it is for the company and only the company.
And until Epic, makes the wrong money move, I'm going to continue to laud them, because as of right now, this is like the second major step that I have seen them make that is giving more creative control and dollars back to the developers.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time.
Yep. And so if it suddenly changes a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I will jump on them, and you know how we do. We will tell the truth.
Absolutely.
But as of right now,
we are
can't
ruthless in our truth-telling inside gaming.
As you are well aware.
But as long as we're talking about money moves, can I bring up something right quick?
Please do.
Sure. It's still America.
Star Citizen has officially been funded for over $400 million.
Are you serious?
Making it a more expensive property than Avengers Endgame.
What the literal heck?
It has raised
PC benchwarmers doing.
It has raised more money than Avengers Endgame. You people.
That is obscene.
It's insane. And there's no release date for this thing. It's in constant beta.
No, it's in constant
alpha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take notes from the greatest ploy in gaming industry, Star Citizen.
So
look, can someone fund us? Jesus, I would feel bad taking your money.
We just need to come up with something sparkly that lets someone have something possessive in game. That's all you need.
No,
yeah.
But here's the thing. We would actually get shit done. Like, you would have something.
I mean, we would at least
$400 million,
release.
I could imagine several things I could accomplish.
We would at least regularly release a podcast once a month. Like
for $400 million, I'd give you at least 2 a week.
Even if we just sat here and like talked about random bullshit,
I would absolutely give this world 2 podcasts a week. Work be damned.
Oh, but yeah. So far, what they've released has been split into 2 games that I would essentially call tech demos at this point. They've got a hangar where you can see the ships that you've purchased, and you can sit in the cockpits of.
Ooh.
And I
can think of another game that came up with ships and sitting in cockpits, but did way worse than Star Citizen.
And it is.
Oh, the No Man's Sky.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? They did that for way less than $400 million.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So, you never know, people. If you've got the next big multi-$100 million seemingly wasteful idea.
Yeah.
I'm just shaking my head at this. Also, as a way to tie this together, because I didn't realize this until I just looked it up, the engine that Star Citizen is using is the game engine rather is Amazon's proprietary Lumberyard.
That's different.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is different.
So Lumberyard is a free
Danny's in chat! Danny! You're alive!
Welcome, Danny.
Welcome, Danny!
I'm so happy to see you, Danny. You are
in the digital flesh.
Yes. The light of the stream. The light of the stream. Oh man.
You are so beautiful to us. Can't you see?
Oh, I was gonna go with "You're beautiful."
Oh man.
Look at what people are missing.
What are we?
Look at what people miss.
Yeah.
I've got 2 final stories for us to talk about, and they're actually pretty fun. The first is the Apex Legends short film, and then the other is part 5 of Astartes. Astartes.
Astartes.
That was I enjoyed both of those. Watched
Yeah.
them today.
I unfortunately never really got the chance to sit down and watch the Apex Legends thing. So what happened in it? Tell me.
I think it was Bloodhound's story,
Oh, okay, cool. That was the only
and it
person I
was
ever played in Apex Legends for the whole
yeah.
2 rounds.
Well, that's the story that's out, and I mean, for a little character short story, I thought it was pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, it's about 10 minutes long. The animation was pretty cool. It reminded me like a little bit of Horizon and God of War's like Dad of War type,
Dad of boy.
Dad of Boy type origin story, you know?
Boy,
Boy.
But boy, but it was really interesting. And how do I say this? I didn't connect with Apex Legends. I preferred the PvP mode from the
Titanfall, right?
Titanfall. Yeah, like I just
did
like
enjoy
that
me some
style of
Titanfall.
gaming better.
Titanfall was a lot of fun.
I really wish it
However,
would come back.
if Apex Legends is what gets me another Titanfall game and maybe a Titanfall anime, then let them continue on.
That would be
Be
sweet.
creative. Tell me stories in this world, in this universe. Show me how we get to Mecca. You know, give me that, and then give me the game. That's what I really want. I want a Titanfall 3.
Mecca as in an entire religious city, or Mecca as in the genre of giant robots?
As in both.
A
Give
giant
me
religious
a-
city of robots?
City of
Hell
Robots.
yes.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
you
what I
never know.
want.
Which brings us around to Astartes.
Yes, segues.
All right, so if any of you are not familiar with Astartes, it is a fan project about Warhammer 40K, and we're not gonna really go too deep into Warhammer 40K because it'll go as deep as you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing that goes on forever and ever and ever and has like really crazy twisty lore where
Enjoy your YouTube rabbit hole.
if you feel like ending up that person that's got like lines of yarn attached to pictures and like newspaper clippings while you're chain smoking and shaking in the corner with a cup of coffee. That's how far you can go with Warhammer 40K if you really want to.
All
But
day, just for you.
Astartes is a fan project made by one guy, and he started a while ago, and he made 4 very very short little animations that tell the story about space marines assaulting a ship.
And by the
And
way, it's good.
it's really good.
Like,
really
you
good.
talk about in-game max cinema qualities that you're thinking of, like, wow, this is a great cinema scene. Yeah, it's that the whole way through.
Yeah, it really is. And then he went silent for a really long time, and uh partially even his like for a moment his original content and his channel disappeared from YouTube, and it only existed from like re-uploads from people that really enjoyed it and had it saved locally.
This must never die. That
And
kind of stuff.
the reason why I found out about it was because Corridor Digital brought it up when they're talking about they have the segment every Saturday. Corridor Digital does about them breaking down good and bad CG. So they talk about um, they run through like big budget movies and they hit Bollywood a lot to talk about like the crazy shit that they do, and they do like Hong Kong cinema every once in a while, and they also do like stuntmen. They like bring in professional stuntmen and talk about stunts and stuff that they do, and it's a really cool set of series. But they brought it up first, which is how I found out about them. And 2 days ago, 3 days ago at this point, I think, the guy released Astartes Part 5. And it totals 7 minutes long, which is 3 minutes longer than all of the 4 together in the beginning, the first 4. and it's really good. It's just as
It's really
good
good.
as the other 4, and at the very end, he credits Markiplier, and I don't
For
know
funding it.
how he fits into it all. I wonder if he funded it, or I wonder if he gave it a shout out for enough people to like
I'm gonna go with fund
take a look at it or
because
something like
Markiplier
that.
is a pretty well-known individual or YouTube entity, so I could
Yeah,
see him throwing a little cash his way, which gave him the focus and the time that he could go, okay, I can legitimately pick this up straight for a little bit here and then make it worth his while.
yeah, definitely. He might have been able to do that from just saying, "Hey, go look at this thing," because his subscriber count is in the 8 figures, I believe.
Oof.
So, yeah.
So yeah, entirely possible. Don't know
Anyway,
for sure.
friggin' go and watch it. It's amazing. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And I would also say that even if you're not 100% into Apex Legends as a game, like I am, I recommend looking at some of their shorts, like the launch trailer for Assimilation, uh, or season 4, I guess, was actually a pretty cool short story. And it had a little bit of someone's origins. Oh, but I don't know any of the. I don't really know the characters, so I don't know whose origin story that was. But I just recommend it. The animation is different. It's really speaking to their design choices instead of it being just like straight standard like anime.
Yeah,
Um, like, I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. Like it takes its own strong visual cues from their design as opposed to being just like a derivative or something. And they're really good. So from as an animation fan, I just say give yourself like 15, 20 minutes and watch the 4 or 5 that are out there. They're really good.
yeah. I think we're close to drawing to a close. What do you all say?
Hmm.
I'm out of topics.
Which is really sad because Danny just showed up and I want to talk to her so much.
Well, she can
I
still
mean, you
stay.
can keep on streaming.
Yeah, we could
Well,
cut this stream and then we could stream a little bit longer, I suppose.
mhm.
But like I have to go to bed in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh,
We can
man,
stream on Tuesday.
being an adult sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could stream on Tuesday, I suppose. We still have a few side missions to do in the new DLC that we finished in Borderlands
Woohoo!
3, at least the main story. And now I get to talk like Mancubus Bloodtooth the entire time, who is a shining beacon of hope in this dark time.
Hmm.
But anyway, I think we're over. Do we have any final thoughts? Any final words?
Nope. If you made it to the end, thank you for joining us, and you know what to do. Like, comment, and Arcadius.
Subscribe.
Okay, I'll say it. Subscribe.
I hate plugs like this.
I know, that's why I did
Hate
it.
them. God.
Well,
I was gonna throw in Obey to throw a Borderlands thing in there, but I was like,
that would have been cool, but it would have set us
Yeah.
up as a bunch of jackasses.
yeah.
Well, aren't we?
I mean, we are kind of jackasses. I
No.
did tell Banana Berry to smear our podcast across IGN's windshield, but you know, we can still
Unabashedly.
we can still do that, I suppose, in an attempt to grab more viewership at a thing that we're fundamentally better on than a company that gets paid to do this. IGN
I, the,
or not IGN,
the
Inside
only
Gaming.
the only difference between us and them is that they have industry contacts and established platform.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have a day job, and this ain't it.
Yep.
That
I also have a day job that I actually have to go to, you work from home people right now.
Hey man, it's
well, I'm gonna
company
go to my
policy
nap
right now. I
room.
can't do anything about it.
All right, guys, this has been another podcast. We're out here. Thanks for listening. And
Toodles.
yeah, spread it around. Tweet this at Inside Gaming, see what happens. We'll see where this goes. I'll see y'all later.